Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're unearthing a truly unexpected success story from the global economy. A seemingly humble ingredient with, well, a surprising journey of growth. Get ready for some genuine insights that might just change how you think about your spice rack. We're talking about the global white pepper market. I mean, who knew white pepper was quietly becoming such a powerhouse?
It's quite remarkable, isn't it? We've distilled a comprehensive report here from Cognitive Market Research. It gives projections for this market all the way out to 2033. And our mission for this deep dive really is to pull out the most crucial trends and, the implications from those numbers. So you get the full picture without getting sort of lost in the weeds.
Absolutely, because when you look past the raw data, there's this fascinating narrative unfolding. You see surprising shifts, unexpected regional champions, and just a story of quiet but powerful expansion. For a spice many of us will barely notice. Okay, let's unpack what we found. So let's kick off with the global outlook then. This isn't just a market that's growing, it's really flourishing. The report indicates global sales were already pretty substantial back in 2021, around what, $1.68 billion?
That's right. And that's just the starting point, really. It's projected to leap to over $2.1 billion by 2025, and then, truly expand to an impressive $3.28 billion by 2033. That translates to a global compound annual growth rate, the CAGR, of nearly 5.7%, 5.743 to be exact. It's a remarkably consistent and robust growth trajectory, almost doubling in size over that period.
Wow. That's a powerful climb. Now, what's genuinely interesting is how this growth looks different, across regions. Let's maybe look at some of the more established markets first, like North America.
Sure. North America is slated for solid growth. You're seeing its sales almost double from around $385 million in 2021. VRAN projected over $722 million by 2033. That comes out to a CAGR just above 5.3%.
Okay, 5.3%. Pretty solid.
And within North America, it gets interesting. While the U.S. and Canada show good, steady growth around that 5 to 5.3% mark, Mexico is actually the standout. It's projected to lead the region with a CAGR over 6.3%.
Over 6.3. That's quite a bit higher.
It is. It highlights how even in these more, let's say, mature markets, you can find these surprising pockets of accelerated demand. What's fascinating here is, well, this surge in Mexico could be tied to an increasing use of white pepper in specific regional cuisines, or maybe a booming processed food sector there, perhaps.
That's a great insight. Yeah, makes that specific number really jump out. Okay, moving across the Atlantic then, Europe. Another major market.
Definitely. Europe saw sales around $360 million back in 2021, and it's on track to reach over $679 million by 2033, with a CAGR just under 5.5%. So similar overall to North America, but slightly higher growth rate.
Right, and variances within Europe too.
Oh, absolutely. What's noteworthy is the variance within Europe. So while countries like France and Italy show solid but slightly slower growth, maybe around 4.9 to 5%, the UK and Germany are actually outpacing the regional average. The UK is projected at a strong 6.4% CAGR.
6.4.
Yeah, and Germany's close behind at nearly 6%. This suggests, stronger demand or maybe deeper market penetration in those specific economies could be driven by food manufacturing or evolving culinary trends, perhaps.
And some are slower.
Right. Conversely, you've got Sweden, for instance, growing at a slower 3.6% CAGR. So quite a range within Europe.
All right, now let's shift over to Asia Pacific. This region is, well, it's a behemoth in terms of sheer market size for white pepper, isn't it?
It definitely is. The Asia Pacific market stood at over $562 million in 2021. That's the biggest starting point. And it's projected to reach over $1 billion, $1.06 billion by 2033. The CAGR there is about 5.6%.
Over $1 billion, wow.
Yeah. And what's particularly striking here is that while China contributes significantly in just overall volume, growing at 5.8%, India is really showing its muscle. It has the region's highest projected CAGR at 6.65%.
India at 6.65%. That's incredibly impressive. What do you think is fueling that specific surge in India?
Well, India's deep-rooted spice traditions, that's definitely part of it. And the rapidly expanding middle class, too. Those are major factors. The report kind of hints that it's likely a combination. You've got increasing domestic consumption in traditional and modern dishes, coupled with a growing processed food industry that uses white pepper quite extensively.
Oh, okay.
It truly underscores the diverse culinary traditions and just increasing demand across the continent. That countries like Japan, South Korea, Australia, they're also contributing significantly to that growth as well.
That makes perfect sense. Okay, now let's head south, South America.
Right, South America. Their white pepper market recorded revenues just over $258 million in 2021. It's projected to hit nearly $492 million by 2033. That works out to a 5.57% CAGR. So pretty solid again.
And within South America, any standouts?
Well, Brazil and Argentina are both showing strong growth, above 5.7%, but Colombia actually has the highest CAGR in the region, almost 5.9% for Colombia.
Interesting. Colombia leading there.
Yeah, and this raises an important question. It's sort of what we touched on with Mexico earlier. What unique culinary or maybe industrial uses might be consistently driving this demand, especially across such diverse economies, and particularly for Colombia topping the growth chart there?
That is a fantastic question to ponder, especially seeing those consistent, strong numbers. And while the report doesn't, explicitly detail the why for every single country, one could hypothesize, like you said, specific regional dishes maybe, or perhaps growth in local food processing fueling that steady demand. Okay, and moving on, the Middle East. That's another area seeing an even more accelerated pace, right?
Indeed it is. The Middle East white pepper market, while smaller in absolute terms, starting around $72 million in 2021, it's forecasted to more than double, over $152 million expected by 2033, and it's growing at a higher 6.28% CAGR, so faster than North America, Europe, or Asia Pacific on average.
Higher growth rate there.
Yeah.
And within the Middle East.
But UAE stands out. It has the region's highest projected CAGR at almost 6.8%. And Saudi Arabia is also robust, over 6.1%. This strongly suggests, a rapidly expanding appetite for diverse spices across the region, probably linked to evolving consumer tastes and maybe a burgeoning food service sector, too.
Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting. The part that truly surprised me from this deep dive, Africa. This region is absolutely exploding in terms of white pepper growth.
You're absolutely right. Africa's market reached just over $41 million in 2021, so a smaller base. But it's projected to soar, a striking $164 million projected by 2033, recording the highest regional growth globally at an incredible 9.96% CAGR. That's almost double the global average growth rate. It's a significant shift, indicating some fundamental changes happening.
Almost double. That's huge. And within Africa, two countries are really leading the charge, and these numbers are just staggering.
They really are. Nigeria is showing an impressive 10.43% CAGR.
10.43.
But South Africa actually takes the crown, the highest individual country growth rate in the entire report, an incredible 10.73% CAGR projected for South Africa.
10.73%. That's truly phenomenal. It really represents a massive emerging market story, doesn't it?
It is phenomenal. And while, Asia Pacific and Europe remain large, established markets in terms of size, Africa's explosive growth isn't just about the numbers, it tells a story. It points to significant underlying shifts. This could be linked to an emerging middle class, like we see elsewhere, increasingly adopting new culinary trends, perhaps, or maybe the scaling up of local food processing industries, or perhaps even new trade dynamics for the spice itself playing a role. It really suggests a major transformation in consumption patterns and, economic development across the continent.
Okay, so let's try and bring it all together then. We've journeyed through the numbers, region by region, and the overarching picture seems pretty clear. The global white pepper market is witnessing impressive and consistent growth. From roughly $1.68 billion in 2021, it's projected to reach, a massive $3.28 billion by 2033, growing at that healthy global CAGR of nearly 5.75%.
Yeah, I think the key message is kind of twofold. Yes, established giants like Asia Pacific and Europe, they continue to dominate in sheer market size, showing consistent growth, no doubt about that. But the real story, the one that points to future trends, I think, is Africa's undeniable emergence. It's the fastest growing region, soaring at almost 10% CAGR. That's the big headline growth-wise. And within that, the, staggering growth in places like South Africa and Nigeria really signals a significant, perhaps underappreciated shift in global demand centers.
I agree completely. And it just underscores how something as seemingly simple as a spice connects directly to massive global industries, to changing culinary trends and evolving consumer preferences worldwide.
Yeah.
It really makes you think differently about that little jar in your spice rack, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It truly illustrates how economic development and globalization aren't just about, tech or manufacturing. They're also about the subtle yet powerful shifts in what people consume day to day. It's a fascinating lens, really, through which to view the global economy, that what's happening in a single spice market can be a kind of microcosm of broader societal and economic evolution.
So maybe for the next time you reach for that spice jar, perhaps it's a reminder. A reminder that even the smallest, most familiar ingredients hold a grand, global story of growth and shifting power dynamics brewing behind them. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other everyday items might have similarly surprising market stories just waiting to be uncovered?